terms of materials, it's not that many materials that we need to assign. I mean, we mainly got the material on the boxes, which of course we need to deal with some attributes, but we got the attribute right, and we also did this to set the primitive color. And we get the material for the environment. So that's about it. Something that we need to keep in mind is that the boxes, we're going to do triplanar, but that's where we have the rest position for. So if we unpack them, you can see we have the rest thing here, and Redshift will automatically extract all of that stuff. So we don't have to worry about that. So let's just go into a material and let's type Redshift material builder. Let's call this, let's just maybe make one basic material now for the environment and assign it on the boxes so we can sort of determine the look, and then after that we'll copy it and then we'll make a separate one for the boxes themselves, because those need a little bit of extra work with the attribute on them. So I guess call this metal. All right, let's assign that. Drag it in there. Rip. And let's drag it in here. Rip. And let's drag it on here. All right, there we go. And let's dive inside. All right, so let's just, we have it assigned. So let's just use a basic material for now. Let's just do something like lead or something, just so we have something to go on. I guess we could just pop this to the top. Don't really have to look at our viewport now. So let's just do it like that. Let's press render. And then we can just play with this stuff while we're going. All right, it's looking a little bit weird. So our boxes are not rendering for some reason. Oh, they are rendering, sorry. Let me just go to another frame. I want a frame where it's already somewhat assembled. It's probably going to be a little bit easier on the eye to look at. All right, let's lock this thing. All right. So yeah, some stuff we want to do. Let's check our RPR. Of course, viewport, the speed here is going to depend on what you're doing. I'm running on an RTX 3090, so it's going to be quite fast, but your results may vary. So I'm just going to put this to regular IORs, so it's easier to work with. Let's put it to quite a high, and why does this keep turning off? Just let's put it to quite a high index of refraction, so you can see it's gonna depend on what you're gonna do. Let's put to like 44. Let's make it a little bit less rough. Let's do refraction, something like that. Let's make this a little bit darker, maybe. Go to just another frame. Yeah, all right, this seems like a fine frame to work on. All right, so this is of course not the most interesting thing to look at. So let's assign some noises, some maps and stuff to make this look a little bit more interesting. So there's one texture that I had assigned, which is this thing. I just found it on Google, some fingerprints. I know it's not necessarily a box that's touched, but it's just, it looked cool to sort of assign it, gave it sort of a nice, feeling like it was sort of small kind of environment thing. I guess you could use something else. I started off, I wasn't initially sure what I was going to go for with the look, and I assigned that one and it looked cool. Let's just use texture. Let's go in there. Let's go to $root / assets. So we can go to our textures there and go to fingerprint. And let's put it in a triplanar. And we're going to put this to a reference position. Now this will probably not work on the environment yet because we don't have any reference position on there, so we need to probably create that. Let's already put this in reflection color, maybe something like that. All right, it does seem to work. So you can see it's already a lot more interesting with the fingerprints here being assigned. You can see it doesn't even necessarily look like fingerprints if you see them like this. So it even looks kind of cool. Let's scale this up. Or it's always the other way around with redshift materials. So something like that maybe. So, and let's do a range, so fit range. And let's maybe, so we can have some control here over the minimum and maximum. Let's maybe do this in, maybe, you know what, maybe it's just, let's put it in roughness instead. Let's not do it in the weight, so we have some control over the, so we just keep the color here itself, and we can have some control here over the weight. So that looks kind of cool. Probably want to do it a little bit more like this. Right, so that's pretty cool. So let's grab some noises and let's do some more interesting stuff. So let's grab a Maxwell noise. I absolutely love these Maxwell noises. It just makes Redshift shader building so much easier. And let's just drag some. Let's just check out our noises by plugging it in, and this keeps turning off for some reason. All right, and we're gonna use a box noise. You can see box noise looks like somewhat like, oh, let's do a cell noise, by the way. It's probably a better one. Because a cell noise, you can see it has more of this boxy look. This looks kind of cool. Let's do it in a triplanar again. This thing keeps turning off. You know what, maybe let's try it in here. I'm never sure why that just sometimes keeps happening. It's just really annoying. Let's try locking something, see if it now wants to stay on. This is really annoying. All right, let's put it in reference. And let's play around with it. Get something like that. Probably what I'm going to do is want to make a displacement. Let's just plug this into a displacement to just start offset. You can see now it turns blue because it's not supposed to go in there. Let's plug our material back in our material. Let's plug this into displacement. And nothing is happening still because let's turn this off. Let's enable displacement on our object. So let's go to first to ground, tessellation, enable displacement, enable tessellation and enable displacement. Only our boxes, tessellation, enable displacement, and ground boxes, tessellation and displacement. Now, if we're gonna press play, it's gonna complain. So let me just show you what the error is gonna be. RD box is instant using adaptive tessellations, which isn't supported. So yeah, because we're using instances, of course we cannot use adaptive tessellation. Let's first tweak our actual scale here so it's not as extreme before we do that. You can see this already works. So what we kind of need to do is, I think we need to turn off the out of frustum tessellation and minimum edge length. I think that should probably solve it, although I always keep messing up these settings. Oh, I need to turn off screen space adaptive. All right, so settings I came up with now is I have maximum subdivisions to 6, out of frustum tessellation to 0, minimum edge length to 0. So this seems to work. The displacement here is too high, but you can see it does look kind of cool already with those. Yeah, just like the stuff here just gets sort of extruded outwards, which just kind of looks cool. Sort of gets this sort of greebly-like look. Let's just focus on the ground also for now, because we don't want this displacement that much on our actual box. So let's just refine our look development here on the ground. So I guess what we could maybe just do is we turn down this displacement in the shader. I think something like this probably looks pretty cool. So depending on like the look you're after, you might like these sort of very sort of strict lines that we have. What you could also do is you could offset this. So some people might not know that, but you can actually plug stuff into the coordinates of like triplanar or of your noise to offset them. I'm not going to do that for my final render because I like this sort of look because we're working with cubes anyway. But for example, what you could do is you could grab another noise. Let's say it's just a, like let's just say turbulence. Let's just see what the turbulence is going to look like. Something like that looks cool. So what we could do is on the, let's say for the offset, you could plug in a maximum noise. And I probably need to refresh this. And we don't really see a lot here. I probably need to plug it into my actual noise for this to have an actual effect. So let's put it into coordinates offset. I'm going to plug it into there. Right, and now you can sort of see see what's going on. So what this will do is it will offset the noise positions, and this is a little bit extreme now. But essentially, what you're now gonna get is you're gonna get. I'm gonna plug this just into my thing here, so you can kind of see what's going on. So it's kind of doing this. So it has this bass noise. So it has this boxy, this cell noise, and then it's being displaced by the other noise. So it's a cool way to sort of do that. I don't think I'm gonna do that for the actual material. I'm gonna add some other, but maybe it actually does look cool, kind of. Should we do this? Nah, let's not do it. Let's just keep the boxy look. And let's just add some different noise another way. So it's some more detail another way. Maybe also let's just increase the reflection. Right, something like that. All right, so maybe let's just grab the noise that we have here. Let me just, by the way, maybe just make this stuff bigger because we don't really have to look at the other side. Let's open the bump input here. Let's grab our noise. And let's just unassign all that stuff and let's just work on our noise here a little bit. Grab that, put that in there. And let's just look at, I would like Ober. Ober is pretty cool, or we could use Puxo. Puxo might also be cool. Let's use Puxo to make it a little bit bigger. Let's do triplanar, by the way. And again, use it into a reference, because your reference will use the rest positions. All right, that looks decent. Let's do a bump map. Let's disconnect this here. With Y, by the way, you get this nice thing, in case you didn't know that. So let's put this in a bump. We're just going to do a regular bump map to add some additional detail. So just put it into a bump. Just plug this in there. So this is way too much. So let's really scale this down to something very minimal. Let's maybe scale this up. Let's scale it up here. So we get some kind of nice detail there. And let's also now re-enable our displacement because we don't have any displacement now. Let's plug in our displacement. So you see we're really getting this sort of cool look now of sort of boxes that are, well, that have some extra detail that's not actually on the actual box. So that's kind of cool. Maybe we want to do some extra like variations in the color here. So So add some color here in this stuff, so it's not just the metallic look. Maybe we want it to be a little bit worn or something, like a little bit rusty or something like that. So maybe let's re-enable the edge tint thing instead of the, so let's do edge tint again. Let's see what this looks like. Right, and maybe we want to do is a bit some curvature, mix some color into this. So we have the edge tint here. Let's do a color mix. This will allow us to give us two colors. Let's do something like blackish and then maybe like a sort of red brownish tint, which would be like a little bit like rust, I guess. All right, let's do curvature. So if you don't know what curvature does, curvature will measure the curvature of a surface. So if it's concave or convex, if you just plug this into, let me just disable my, disable my displacement for now. Let's just plug this into surface. We can sort of see what's going on. Right, so now you can really see sort of the what this is doing. So if you have concave or convex, I guess let's try putting it to concave. Get something like this. So you could say, okay, maybe we want to blend in like the brownie stuff on where it's white. So that's where this would go into the mix amount, and then let's go to the edge tint here. Let's try plugging that in. And let's crank up the max. Let's see if this actually does something. Let's first, before we do that, let's just try with the manual mix, see what it's actually doing. It doesn't seem to do that much in this case, so let's just have a maybe we could also do instead is put it to IOR, and let's do it on the reflection color. Maybe something like that would be cool. So let's see if it's reflection color. Let's make it white, and let's do a little bit brownish. Something like that will probably make a little bit more sense in this case, right? You can see now we're just mixing them. But now let's put in our mix amount with the curvature. Let's make this a little bit more grayish. And we could do range. Let's not do the range. Let's play with our curvature here a little bit. Let's put this to 1. Right, if I make it, let's increase the rate a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see it's very subtle. You can really see it over there. Maybe what I want to do here is add, like, grab these noise that we had, use that to sort of offset some stuff. So let's see. What do we want to, maybe we want to offset the radius a little bit. Yeah, okay, that's already kind of cool. Let's plug this into our material just to visualize it. All right, yeah, that's looking pretty crazy actually. Let's fit range this. Let's do the output range. Something like that probably makes more sense. Right. All right. Let's plug that into our material. And I probably don't want this to be as light or pronounced, so I guess we can do something like this. All right. I think this looks pretty cool. Let's add our displacement back in. Magnifique. Alright, so actually kind of liking how this looks. Let's maybe disable or make our displacement a little bit lower. So let's just leave this like this for now. And let's copy and paste this material. And call this, I guess, boxes. Right, so we're going to assign this to our regular just boxes because those need some additional work. Because, I mean, we're probably going to reuse some of this stuff like the noises. But they are going to be fundamentally a different material because they are going to be a little bit refractive, right? Because there's going to, like the center pieces are going to be more like glass. We're going to use the same noise to sort of offset it. So it's not going to be the same material, but then at least we have these nodes here to already help us out. So yeah, let's build this material. All right, so let's just assign these boxes to our boxes here. Right, let's dive in there. Let's disconnect this material. Let's just move this stuff down. Let's disconnect this displacement. Let's make a new material. So again, we're gonna do it a little bit differently. And right, diffuse weight like that is fine. Let's just enable this. Let's go to like a. Let's go to a good frame where we can sort of see a lot of our things. All right. Alright, let's press render. And oh, I want to disable the light from our electricity, by the way. Alright, so something like that. Alright, let's add some refraction. So let's just increase the refraction here. Let's do something like 0.44. And probably we need to change the instancing here. I hadn't changed or the displacement settings on that yet. So let's go to, let's just match what we had on these. This we had 060. So 060. I mentioned I always mess up these settings on all of these. Always when I have to do the displacement. It's always a little bit fiddly. So maybe even, so I put it down, maybe even on this one we can maybe actually just leave displacement disabled because I don't think I did any displacement on my original thing as well. Because these are just, this is going to be faster anyway. All right, so yeah, we want to add some additional stuff there. What we want to do is we want to first maybe load in our attribute. So let me just double check what the attribute was called again. It's the one that we used for the what's called like something like distance, right? Yeah, we have the attribute called dist. We can use that in our shader. So let's type attribute here, and then we get redshift point attribute. Let's do our thing a little bit bigger again. All right, so if we just type dist in here, so this is particle attribute lookup, attribute name, dist, right? Dist, right? So if I just plug this into service, you can always plug just stuff into service to see what it's going to look like. You can see we get a black and white value, which is of course very useful. You could also use that in a color ramp or in a ramp, for example. If I put a ramp here, I could say, all right, I want like these to be orange, and my center one to be like a little bit white-ish. So then we already got that settled. Or whatever color you like. I just thought the orange and blue looks cool because that's just the thing that always just looks good, right? Also on movie posters and movies, they just keep doing orange, blue, orange, blue, orange, blue. Yeah, anyway, let's plug in our material. So we have this thing. What we could do is use that maybe to set the also the like the roughness. We could grab this, say Let's maybe put this into the refraction roughness and probably fit range this and put this to 1 to 0, something like that. Let's put it in maybe refraction color, maybe makes more sense. Oh, and we don't. I thought we had to change it around, which we don't. All right, let's just have a look what this looks like. Or let's just put it in. Let's put it into roughness instead. Then we can change the refraction color ourselves. So I guess we could put the refraction color maybe with our color ramp that we made here. And let's also put that into diffuse color. All right, so then these are going to be black. And let's double check. Let's go to, by the way, 709. We had it on sRGB. We don't want that. All right, I'm probably going to say that this shouldn't be completely black, but like a little bit grayish. Right, let's just keep, maybe let's not put anything in a roughness. Let's just keep the roughness real high. Where is it? Probably something like that is probably good. Let's maybe just put it in the refraction weight. It probably makes more sense. Let's do refraction weight. And let's just play with these sliders. All right, so yeah, center one should be more refractive, and then we do want these other ones to also be somewhat refractive though. So 0.8. But we do need to start adding our orbs in here pretty soon as well, because this is just not cutting it. Because it's just hard to judge. It's hard to judge what's going on because we kind of just need these nice little lights in there. Maybe we can already do is just grab the thing that we used for our bump map here, down here, because we do want that to add some extra sort of nice detail. So that already looks kind of cool. Yeah, we also had the fingerprint thing, so I guess we could maybe we could use the fingerprint here for roughness. Yeah, we have the fingerprint thing. Let's use that for the roughness instead. Let's maybe just do a thing here, so we just have a little bit easier time to see what we're doing. Fraction weight. Maybe decrease the bump map here a little bit. So maybe it's time to start introducing our little orb lights. So it's a little bit easier to see what we're doing with this material as well, because those are also just gonna really influence what we're gonna do. Or maybe what we should do first, now I'm thinking of it, these are also emitting by themselves, so maybe let's just first do that, and then we're just introducing our orb lights. So let's grab our color here again. Let's make this a little bit bigger, and we have an emission color there. Let's put this into emission color. Let's press render. And let's go on material, go to overall, and let's increase the emission weight. So this already makes it look a lot better. You see, also you get this sort of nice stuff over there. And I do really think that probably we just need white in the center. We can change that in compositing a little bit as well. Of course, the refraction here is just maybe a little bit on the high side. All right, so I think that's sort of good for now. All right, let's introduce our orbs. Let's make a redshift material builder. Call this, I guess, orbs. And let's assign it to our orbs. Did we already make a render node for our orbs? I don't think so. No, we didn't not. Let's make a geometry node. Under RNDR orbs. Make it green. Let's go into orb sim. Copy that. Go in here. Object merge and put it in there. Now on the Redshift tab, let's go to particles. Render objects as particles, because we have these points in here which we want to be rendered. So let's make them very small. I don't remember what scale I had before, but that's fine. And yeah, let's go to our thing. Let's go to orbs and let's go to emission. Let's just make it white for now. Let's just crank it up, see what it does. Might be that they are way too big or way too small. Looks like they probably are too small. Let me turn off my boxes for now to see if they're even rendering at all. I don't think so. All right, there we go. So they are, but a little bit small. All right, let's go into our... Did we have it? Oh, we didn't have it assigned. All right, that makes a lot of sense. All right, now they are emissive. So now we can go into enable our boxes again. Right, you can see them be in there. That's kind of nice. So let's go 20, too much, 12. Let's make them smaller because they're too big now. And probably we don't want them at all in these black boxes. So probably what we could do is just go into RNDR orbs. Let's go into spreadsheet. We should have the distance attributes, which we did. We have the dist on the boxes here. So let's just walk through this. I want to use the distance attribute to sort of remove the ones that are in the black ones. So let's look in our. So here we have distance. This attribute. Let's transfer it to our points. So attribute transfer. Let's transfer it to our points here. Transfer just the distance. Now we should have a dist attribute. You can see, and let's say that in this wrangle. Let's just do it all the way on the bottom. If at dist equals 1, remove point. First input at point number. All right, let's have a look. Oh, if 0, by the way, we don't want to do in the center. Let's have a look. Okay, that doesn't seem to work. So let's see what's actually going on there, which is weird. Let's try applying this on our boxes. Okay, there's none that are actually 0. Let's do it if it's below 0.2, no, 0.4. 0.1. All right, if it's below 0.1, that seems to work. Then it's only gonna delete the black ones, right? So that should work. Call it, I guess, delete black boxes, something like that. All right. Let's go to another frame. All right, yeah, that's already looking a lot better. That's already looking pretty cool, actually. Maybe I don't want the actual overall emission of the actual boxes to be fully emissive. Maybe what we could do is go to overall here and go to get a curvature. Again, like all this shading stuff is pretty similar to working just with VOPs inside of Houdini. And as long as you sort of know what you want to do, it's pretty self-explanatory. For some reason, this is not... Oh, I hooked it up to the wrong thing. I don't want to do it on the arms. I was talking and then I forgot what I was doing. Right, let's do it in the boxes. Let's plug curvature. Let's check out our curvature on our boxes. And let's make it bigger. Let's try concave. Now let's do convex. It's always just playing a bit with these values. Yeah, I think probably like doing it on the edges like this might be cool. Let's just plug in our material again. Let's put this into... Wanna maybe multiply our emission color perhaps? Do we want to do that? Emission color. Yeah, let's do multiply vector. So let's multiply this entire thing with the curvature. Right, you can see it's already quite cool. So it's still giving the overall color because it's refractive, of course. Let's maybe make radius a little bit bigger. All right, yeah, something like so. You can see now this is not as boring as it was before. So now we have actual sort of nice, sort of a fade out type of effect, which kind of looks dope. Although we also see it over there, and we don't want the outside ones to be emissive. Maybe what I should do is multiply the actual incoming attribute by it instead of... So let's just try that. Let's have a look. Now it's gonna lose. Now that's gonna use that in the color, so that's not it. I'm gonna just multiply this probably again. It's a little bit annoying that Redshift has like these nodes where you don't get an extra input. Like it would be great if there was like an extra input there. I guess now with OSL in beta you could do stuff like that, but I don't want to get into that. But that's something you could do later. All right, let's just plug in the attribute again. All right, and now we get it just our sort of centerpieces. What we could do is probably ramp this so we can make it a little bit more pronounced for the center ones. So then the ones in the center should do it a little bit more. Let's change the curvature again. Again, all this lighting and shading is really just playing around, so don't want to spend too much time here, but I think we're getting pretty close. Let's just increase the emission weight. Yeah, okay, I think we're getting pretty close now. Getting close, boys and girls. And days and thems and everything. Yeah, okay, something like this is pretty cool. So let's probably also just increase the emission on the orbs here. Oh. Not with it, not with the thing. So they're just going to be a little bit brighter. And let's just not do a bucket render. Let's just have a look what this, or let's do a bucket render, but like on the full frame. Let's just see what this is going to look like. So 1 second. Alright, so let's maybe also tweak our lights a little bit. I think right now what we could do is maybe increase the light because it's a little bit dark. If I compare it to my original here render, that's not comped yet. This is one of the earlier frames. You can see it's a lot lighter here. You could probably increase that. I mean, we could always make it darker in comp again. Of course, we do have also our, because this looks probably maybe snapshot. Oh, it was just too light. We need to start introducing our electricity, but let's first increase our key light here maybe a little bit. Like 66, 88. Right, that's cool. Then we already get like some more highlight there. I think maybe we could move it over to the backside a little bit more. Let's put our render view down here. So then we kind of light it up a little bit more over there. Let's close our render view over there. Yeah, you cannot have two render views open at the same time. That's why it just went black for a second. I think the emission is maybe still a little bit too much on the boxes. But again, you also just have to play with all of this stuff yourself to sort of get to get where you want to go. Let's go to the thing here. So emission, because I tend to not want to spend too much time on this stuff when I'm doing a tutorial, because else it's just gonna get boring if you're watching me drag this stuff for a way too long extended period, which you probably have better things to do. Right, so I guess let's just leave it at something like this, and then we're gonna tweak this stuff in comp later. I think the light looks pretty cool like this. Let's introduce our electricity back. So let's go to our camera and let's find a frame where we actually have some electricity. Yeah, so here's some electricity. So let's just enable the mesh light. Whip. It might actually generate quite a bit of light. Yeah, okay, so it's already way too bright, so let's make it like more like 1/3 of that. Maybe like 55. All right, let's do, we have the temperature. Let's do a bucket render and just see what that will give us. All right, so I did a partial bucket render here. I think the electricity is way too thick, so I'm gonna make it thinner. Just gonna maybe do it on the polywire here and just say maybe divided by 3. So it's gonna be 3 times as thin. So let's see what that will give us. All right, let's do, we could probably now increase the intensity again. And let's do color and temperature. And I think we probably need to put our camera, also let's make it our camera full HD. Maybe a little bit above. What I generally do is what you can do is you can make it, for example, 1920 by 1080 and then render with overscan. But what I did when I made this thing is because I wanted it to be able to display on multiple formats. So I wanted to be square for Instagram or full HDs. I actually rendered it at 2200 by 1200. So I could do a 1200 by 1200 cutout of it, but also still get a 1080. So let's just do that. But this is just gonna look, this is gonna make a little bit of a difference also with our electricity here and the way that's gonna be sampled. And depth of field is gonna make a very big difference, by the way, with the electricity as well, in the way that it's gonna look. And also when we have the electricity, what we're also gonna have is we're gonna have the volumetrics, and the electricity is gonna light up the volumetrics. Oh, that's already gonna look a lot cooler. But just like, I think in terms of just basic stuff, it's looking pretty decent. So yeah, that's all the materials and sort of light basically done. Let's go over render settings for this main thing before we tackle the other renders, because we're gonna do 3 renders. We're gonna do main render. It's gonna be this thing. Then we're gonna have our smoke render, and we're gonna have our just our regular volumetric light, and we're gonna composite those on top. So if I grab Fusion here, like I have this main beauty render here, and we probably need to tweak some, like you can see over here, this just looks a little bit better also with the way it's lit. And by the way, did we already scale the boxes down a little bit, or did we not? Maybe we should scale them down a little bit more. Let's grab these boxes. Let's do primitive. So primitive is just easy way to sort of be able to scale them down. So I kind of want some light to pass through them. That kind of looks cool. But here in the composite, we're gonna later, like if you have these gaps, you can kind of see also the orange ones inside. That's cool. But there's some like a lot of extra stuff that's also happening. Like here we have I have like an electricity pass here. You can see electricity lighting up the volume, and there's just some volumetrics over there. So we're gonna render that separately. Depth of field is being done separately as well. So we have base comp here. So you can see here's also the smoke. So we have a smoke render here. I tinted blue a little bit. So essentially you have just a base component. Depth of field is being done in compositing, just because that's just a lot faster. And probably I actually had some more, now that I'm looking at it, I had an extra layer of blue pieces, which I actually don't have now in my thing here. So let's see if we can work that in. Do we have as many boxes as we had before? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm just gonna go, I thought I sort of matched what I had, but anyway, this should be pretty fast. We could just go in here. Let's make it not be 0.2 but 0.15. Just get the extra boxes. Let's cache it out. Let's make it let's make it version 2. A lot of the stuff is going to be procedural anyway, so the only things that we need to sim again is the boxes, and we need to resim the smoke. But again, we don't have any particularly long sims, so resimming this, as long as the loop is going to be correct now, it should all be fine. So let's see if this will still be similar. And we have one that's not assembled yet. Probably what we want to do is so let's just have a look. Maybe actually it does actually kind of look cool how it sort of hits and then explodes. So maybe you can actually leave it like that. Right, so now we have that. We also need to resim the smoke. So let me just quickly resim the smoke. I'm going to stop recording for that. 1 second. All right, so smoke finished simulating. So we have the entire thing with all the extra boxes. Let's just hide the smoke. Yeah, let's focus a little bit on the on the material of the boxes still, because we have the extra colors. Just want them to look a little bit nicer. So similar to what I had with my original. So let's focus on that a little bit, and then after that we'll go into the into some of the more rendering stuff. So preparing our render for final render. So yeah, here we have the thing. Probably what we want to do, let's just keep it at IPR. What we want to do is maybe we have this color ramp here. Let's make, because we want to add some blue in, right? Because in my original thing I had sort of the blue, then the orange, and then the center one. So that's it's this. So let's do it here at the end. Yeah, so you have the orange, blue, and the black. So let's do that. We have this color ramp here. Maybe what we want to do is go to actions and then create a reference copy. What that will do is we'll sort of copy the entire node, but link all the parameters up. And let's replace that in all of the places here where we have a ramp. So we don't have to manually keep copying it every time we make a change. You can just plug it in there. So I think we have it everywhere now. Right, so let's fire up RPR again. It's annoying how it sort of stops when I maximize the view. But hey, what you're gonna do? Ghostbusters. Color. Oh, there we go. Right, so I guess let's move the orange on there. Let's make let's do a bluish one here. Oh, damn it. Oh. You see, like if I accidentally maximize it, now where was gonna be right? So let's make. You know what? Let's maybe just do. So let's make another one here, which is gonna be orange. Orange, you glad I did that? Ha ha ha. All right. All right, let's try another frame. Let's maybe make one in the bottom here, else I'm gonna keep restarting it all the time. It's gonna be a little bit annoying. All right, so let's just have a look at our reference here again. So yeah, I probably want a little bit more roughness on it as well. I probably want these. So let's do roughness on the, oh, there's not really a lot of roughness now, so I guess let's do something like that. Let's try with a little bucket rendering. All right, so okay, there's one issue here. See, so I probably didn't I need to probably change my orbs because we did them on a little bit bigger box initially, right? So I probably need to change the scaling there. But I guess what we could just do is just scale them down on here, on the transform. So you can see we can just should, I think, work. So we do want them to be inside of our boxes. Yeah, okay, that's a lot better. Right, yeah, you can already see this is a lot cooler. And we'll need to really crank up these samples in a little bit. Because it's now really difficult to see what's going on here. So I guess maybe what we should just do is move along to the next part where we're gonna discuss how we can sort of clean up our image to get rid of the noise. And then while we're at it, we're gonna make some final tweaks to the material as well, because now it's just really difficult to see what we're doing because it's just there's not enough detail now to just see what's going on. So let's dive into the next part. It's going to be about render settings, rendering stuff out, and then we can also still do some final tweaks to our shader. So let's start doing that. And so maybe one more thing we still want to do in this material here, which I'm re-recording now because I almost forgot to add that. But we probably also want to use the texture we had, and maybe also put that into the reflection color, because now we don't really have anything in our reflection. So that might be a little bit more interesting to also add that in. So we have a little bit more interesting stuff going on there. So that's similar, like that's the fingerprint texture thing that we do have on the rest of the environment. And I'm probably gonna turn down the emission weight here, because I think it's probably just a little bit too much. So let's just have a look. I'm recording this, by the way, after some other parts, so the sampling settings here are a little bit different. We'll get into that a little bit later. But yeah, I think pretty good for now, so let's move along.